Hey, it's Chris from the Felt Recoil podcast, and this week's charity of choice is very close to home for us. It's the Dragon Boat Upstate Festival. This is an event where you get together, donate money to a great cause, and then row a boat across a lake. It's actually a heck of a lot of fun. Go to facebook.com/Felt Recoil Show, and you can find the specific page to donate to the team that we will be a part of. So the Dragon Boat Race is a support for cancer patients in the upstate. You support them by donating. This is the 11th year they're doing it, and your donation will help provide vital cancer research to people in need, and plus it supports survivorship programs to cancer patients in the community. So please visit facebook.com/Felt Recoil Show, learn about the Dragon Boat Upstate Festival, and if you feel inclined, make a donation. They would appreciate it. We would appreciate it, and this week's guests would certainly appreciate it. Did I say plural guest? I meant guest. This week's guest. It's his wife is heading it up, and she's going to kill him if you don't donate money. So we're actually cool either way. We don't care what you do. Just kidding. Die. All right. The Dragon Boat Upstate Festival, facebook.com/Felt Recoil Show for a direct link to the page to donate. We will be out there and participating. So hope to see you too. Felt Recoil episode number 16. The episode with Dylan Crow starts right now. I don't know if we're just turned up. I think that's what the kids say. Turned up to 11.
Is that what they say?
Dylan, you're cool. Is that what kids say these days?
I'm a little out of touch.
Felt Recoil episode 17. Don't know what the static was, but don't really care.
We're just add an episode to?
Just gonna.
You skip one?
Did I say 17?
Yep.
Where am I right now?
I don't know. Is
Sorry.
that big cup in front of you?
Maybe. Let's start
You
over.
should probably just go ahead and take another rip off of that.
Felt Recoil episode number 16 is here. My name is Chris, and across from me, my ever hetero life mate
Is Patrick.
I say he's ever hetero, but I think that girl's still waiting on a ring, so we don't really know. And then
Burn.
I know. Just kidding. But, you know, we have to appease the ladies that let us do this every week, and I find making fun of ourselves is one way to do it.
She doesn't listen.
Would you like for me to say, I'm just kidding, she doesn't deserve no ring?
It probably wouldn't go over well.
Okay,
Because
then
that probably
I
would.
won't.
This would be the episode that she listens to.
If you ever go back and listen to the very first Felt Recoil episode, you will hear that it begins with me celebrating the fact that she liked a snarky comment I made about a ring on Facebook. Okay, sitting in...
This is my life.
Wow, it's been that long ago.
It's just trying to unwind. Yeah, it's episode number 1. Isn't it a good time? Okay, the third voice you're hearing belongs to Dylan, a.k.a. Stump. I can now revert to calling you Stump, a good friend of ours who has a very interesting history, I believe. I'm looking forward to diving into it a little bit. But first, explain how Dylan became Stump. What's the genesis of the name? Where did it start?
Well, when I was, I guess, 8 or 9, probably would be because I looked like a tree stump. And then when I got to high school, I got a little taller and a little skinnier, and now we're trending back downwards. But so yeah, my dad, I was running, and we were at youth sports, which I know is your favorite thing, and he was the dad that you always talk about. Dad. Yeah.
Wait, no. Wait. Slow down a second. What dad do I always talk about?
On sports, the coaches, they're like, run. Yeah. That was that guy. He was a different dude. He wasn't dad at the field. He's always dad, but he was.
Was he the coach?
Oh yeah,
He was just in the stands.
The coach, the general manager. This man got me thrown out of a baseball game because he was cussing at an umpire and pointed and said, "It was him. It wasn't me." And I just kind of looked up at him. I was like, "I guess I'm taking one for the team here."
Oh, your dad said
Literally?
you were the one cussing?
Yeah, he pointed at me out, and we were at a Riverside High School. I can still remember it. And he was like, "That was him." Like, and threw his hands up. I said, "Well, I guess it's time for me to go."
I'm imagining your dad coaching soccer, and he's just like yelling at you to kick the ball in the goal. And it's like, yeah, I know, Dad. I got it. I know what soccer is.
Nah, his was more or less, he was a football guy. So football was always real hard with Pop. Baseball, it was different, but it wasn't that bad. But football, it was like There's that show on Friday Night Tykes. It was like that.
Really? See, I've met your dad, and I don't get that impression of him. Your dad is so quiet. I mean, at least on my perspective.
The youth sports bring it out of him.
You just only seen him in, I guess, the work setting.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, I saw him for a little while. I mean, not a long time, but a little while at a hockey game today. He wasn't too crazy. In fact, he's pretty mellow.
Yeah, he was like, well, I'll probably calm down. He works with these people. I'll tone it down a little bit.
I did think he stayed rather quiet to be the guy with his entire body painted, but maybe that's a different conversation.
Yeah. I think we were supposed to, was it Greenville
At
Swamp
the
Rabbits?
10:30 a.m. hockey game.
Yeah. He had the R for rabbits, and me and Chris were supposed to paint the G and the S on our stomachs, and we missed the memo. But no. So, yeah, that's how it got started, is being short and fat.
It was just Dad's nickname for you.
It was.
Because you were short and fat.
Yeah, I think it was a motivation to get skinny, but he's short and fat also, so
Right.
Genetics.
Another thing that I always find humorous about high school football coaches is that they do demand a lot more of the players than they could, most of them, ever accomplish themselves. You know, all right, you're going to run 10 laps. You run one. You know, not to your dad personally, but fits that mold. But I wouldn't see your dad as that way. But for me, it's not about, like, I don't have a problem with people motivating their kids to do better. I have a problem with the people that make it supreme above all else.
Yeah, no,
you know?
he cared about us more than anything,
Yeah.
all the kids. But he was just, when we were there, it wasn't time to pick butterflies and
Right.
everything else. It was, let's do it. And if we messed up, we were at Lakeview Middle School before they redid it, and there used to be a tree, which for us would be a jog. But when you were a little kid, that tree seemed like a 5K.
Yeah.
Go to that tree, come back, we'll do it again. Go to that tree, come back, we'll do it again. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, your dad would have hated me because I remember playing Little League Baseball and legitimately taking my glove off in right field and sitting on it because I didn't want to get my pants dirty. That's a true story. And my parents still laugh about it to this day, but I can only imagine how a dad that was like, yeah, I hope my son can succeed at sports my dad must have been so disappointed. But whatever. So it is. All right. We like to start. I mean, it's a little bit different because we know you very well, but we're gonna start off here with excuse me.
We can pretend
one
that we
question
don't.
5 times. Yep. And Stump and I actually had lunch together today, and he said I've got 2 that I've stalled on, and I'm really giving thought. So are you there? You ready? You think?
Almost. We'll figure it out along the way, I guess.
All right. All right. One question 5 times.
If you don't, you're going to have to run down to the tree.
Right.
It'll be done. Trust me.
All right. So what's the one gun everyone should own?
This was one of the ones. I'm probably going to go with Glock 19.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Why is that? Because Matt Best told you to? Not a bad answer. Just wondering.
No, it's just it fits almost everybody's hands, unless you've just got bear claws.
Right.
It's comfortable. It's good to carry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just all around the way to go, probably.
All right. What's the one book everyone should read?
The Yankee Years by Joe Torre.
What's that about?
So it was kind of Joe Torre's swan song. He was kind of the one that opened up like, yeah, I don't like what you did, so I'm going to write a book about it. And he kind of opened the door to a lot of stuff that people speculated on and made a pretty believable point. He didn't do off-the-wall stories, which a few of them in there are kind of maybe not, but he told a lot of personal stuff like, yeah.
It's like a tell-all.
Kind of, but his was more or less like, this is what we learned along the way. This is what I would do again. This is what I'm not going to do again. Because I think I read it in my senior year of high school, so 2009, which is about the time the Yankees let him go. And it just tells like how he went in the new GM's office and was like, hey, give me a year to stay at the new stadium. And the GM was like, yeah, why don't you get on out of here, bud? And he'd won them, I don't know, 7 world championships, I think.
Jeez.
But I'm not a big reader. I'd rather read about people that interest me than read a story that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to walk around Barnes & Noble. That looks like a good $30 book. And then get it, and it's
Right.
like, huh.
Yeah.
Should have watched a movie.
Well, if you'll hang around afterwards, I'll tell you about Amazon, so you don't have to do that anymore. What's the one movie? What's the one movie you think everyone should see?
Probably going to shock my wife, but I'm going with Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I thought it was going somewhere completely different. I've got something I got to let my wife know. It's called When Larry and Ben Met in Prison. And it is phenomenal. It touches the soul if you're a closeted gay man. All right.
Well, thanks. I feel like a guest here. I'll see myself out.
All right. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Great film, by the way. Classic. Out of the modern era. But why so much? Why do you like it so much?
Just sitting around. It's a movie that every time I watch it, I find different things in it. It's something that can keep your interest the whole time. And it's been on TV here lately more than I can ever remember it being, but it's without a doubt I heard something in there the other day. I was like, I never pictured that being said in this movie, and then there it is.
It was.
But I'm a huge, huge, huge Friday fan. That'd probably be part 2 to that answer, but Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
So Friday would be runner-up, huh? That's kind of two incredibly polar opposite movies, am I right? I mean, profane, black people in the hood versus profane white rednecks.
Well, like I said, with the football teams and stuff from what we talked about earlier, that's who we were with, not knocking anybody that might listen to this, which, good for you. But it's...
Are you under the impression black people listen to this? That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I share it on Facebook, one be like, "Oh, Stump was on a talk show. Let's listen to this." But no, remember watching that with some kids on the football team. We were all hanging out waiting on a game or something. I was like, "What is this?" And then my dad my dad, being him, comes around the corner and quotes it, and I was like,
No way.
"Oh, that man,
Your dad knows Friday?
word for word,
Interesting.
word for word, my man."
Not sure whether to be impressed or terrified.
I want to back up for a quick minute. With that being said, just maybe to avoid offending your dad more. Oh, so they hate me because I coached high school football?
Oh no, we weren't in high school. We were like 11. No. No.
That's even better, man. That's even better.
He hung up the old whistle when we got to high school. They paid people to do that at this venture.
True enough. Is there a better soundtrack to any film than Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Is there a case to be made for one being better? Yeah, because I can't. To me, it's one of the greats. If you consider movie soundtracks, and I'm talking original music to the film that has carried on. I mean, people go and see.
I don't know. I'm a big Huey Lewis fan, and Back to the Future was pretty much a game changer when it came to soundtracks. Let's be honest. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I guess
why are y'all making these faces?
I'm having one of these moments where I don't know if you're being serious or not.
I guess the only thing that could hold weight to I'm a Man of Constant Sorrow would probably be I Don't Want to Miss a Thing from Armageddon. Wouldn't you think?
Get out.
Just leave.
Okay. Well,
we only had 2 more questions to go, and you had to go say that.
Couldn't make it.
All right. Here's what I'll say about that. No.
I'm talking in terms of popularity, like still being played, which
there's
no comparison between the two. Which one I would rather listen to?
Here's how I feel about that song and that idea. So, to me, music is one of those things where I take solace in the fact that somebody else feels the way I feel about things, right? So, I got into Dave Matthews in high school, and I think a lot of that draw was his style of guitar playing, because I was a 15-year-old kid sitting in a room just playing by himself, just trying to learn licks on the guitar. And if you could learn that, that was pretty good stuff. You could just play that, and he had the percussion side of it because he's very percussive in the way he plays. Is that a word? I think it is. He's very percussive in the way he plays. So you can get away with just being one guy on a guitar that way. But there's also a message in it where there's some doubts about things and the ups and downs of life, and just, to me, everything a kid is going through. And even as you grow up, his music evolves, and for me, it's relative to me in my life. So when I look at bands like Aerosmith and their 70s rock, I go, okay, well, if I had been a drug-riddled hippie then I would have gotten into Aerosmith and I would have understood them. Or if I'm a very melodramatic, this is my thing kind of guy, then Don't Want to Miss a Thing would have applied to me at some point ever in my life. It doesn't. It never has. So I guess what I'm saying is, I talk a little bit about what I call manufactured oppression, right? I think that's the thing the left does, the women that apparently didn't work today or yesterday, which we'll get into International Women's Day.
2 days, huh?
I want to defend ourselves on, well, it's weird, but apparently today was a day without women in celebration of International Women's Day. I don't know. Did you guys know? Okay. Anyway, here's the point. You have this manufactured oppression that people come up with so they can be mad about something. And then you have manufactured feelings of music. And that's what Aerosmith does. I don't think Steven Tyler has ever felt sorrowful about anything. Otherwise, he wouldn't have 9 different kids with 9 different women, right? You know what I'm saying? Maybe he would have changed his ways.
Did you see his American Idol run? I probably would have felt a little sorrowful about that. I mean, let's be honest.
Right. So, okay. So if he comes out with a song, wish I wouldn't have done that or something,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
maybe I'll change my mind. I just don't. I think that what they're really good at is writing catchy melodies over good music, but there's no real grit and soul and feeling to that kind of stuff because it feels so fake to me, right? So I can't get into it. But man, I'm really drawing a blank. What is the name of the band that did the "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" soundtrack? Now they tour with
Oh, come on. They're not the same.
Alison Krauss and Union Station. It wasn't Union Station that did all the music?
No, that's not right.
That's not right?
I'm drawing a blank as well.
Stump's looking it up on his phone. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. It's the same guys. Maybe they just toured with her afterwards for a while. But the Soggy Bottom Boys is what they called themselves in the film, right?
Yeah, and they're...
And then, are you sure it wasn't Union Station?
So it's not Union Station.
Okay.
That's Alison Krauss's band.
Yeah, because
Right,
that's the first thing that pops up.
So-
Google it.
All right.
Fellow that sings that plays the mandolin, and his name is not Alison Krauss.
No, I know that. But I thought he was a part of Union Station. That's all I'm saying. Okay, all right. Either way, you look at those guys and get me an answer when you can if you want.
Okay.
Correct me. But when I hear that guy sing, "Man of Constant Sorrow," like I feel as if he's telling me, I'm the guy who, no matter how hard I try to get things right, I always mess it up. And you're looking at the guy that can relate to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel that as a husband and a father of 3. Sometimes I feel like, man, sometimes I just feel like I can't get it right. Like, I want to be better in life. I want to do things better in life, but you just can't get it right. So when you listen to that, it's easier for me to relate. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing feels more like, man, somebody came up with a cute little ditty, and I'm supposed to believe it.
Yeah, but when I saved the Earth from an asteroid, and,
Right. I hear
call me.
I hear you.
No,
So the guy that sings it is in Union Station. So there you go. You were right.
Thank you very much. All right.
Well,
I thought that was right. All right.
Dan Tyminski.
Nice. Beautiful voice, by the way. I love that guy. I love everything about this people. Okay. Oh, Brother Where Art Thou. Great film. So, what's the one album you think everyone should own? I'd love for him to be like, well, I really did some homework on this, and it's going to be the Oh Brother Where Art Thou
soundtrack.
soundtrack.
I was thinking he was going to use Aerosmith, and now he's got to change his answer.
No,
Armageddon soundtrack.
Traveler by Chris Stapleton.
All right, explain your answer.
It's when I first heard it, I was kind of like, yeah, this is going to be an acquired taste, but it's country music the way it used to be, and the way it should be. It's not.
Tractor rap.
Tractor rap is the stupidest thing ever invented. If you want to listen to rap, why don't you listen to great rappers rap?
I'm sorry. Wait. Slow down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Tractor rap.
Tractor rap is a thing?
That's what I call it.
I mean,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if that's really what
It's-
everybody else calls it.
Okay. All right.
hip hop is what I think the
It's called
hip hop.
I haven't heard that
I
one.
thought you said
Hickok.
Hickok 45.
Yeah.
So I thought you were going hick hop.
So all the songs
Like
are 45
hip-hop?
minutes long?
No, it's like Colt Ford.
See if we can hit this gong over here that we've hit 1,000,001 times.
No, but it's main thing is it's not trucks.
Just sorry. Just go ahead and mark. Here's our to-do list as a podcast. Get YouTube stars as guests. I'm just gonna mark that off. Okay.
They all hate us now.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's not short shorts and riding my truck and drink my moonshine and everything else. It's actual good music. Like the best song on the album is a cover, but it's a unique cover of it. It was actually my wedding song. But
I was at your wedding. Which song?
Tennessee Whiskey, we changed it at the last
Come on,
minute, like
come on.
5 days out.
Okay. All right. I have to tell you something. Not to totally steal thunder or anything, but I was once asked to film an interview with Karl Malone. It's a true story. And I have the footage. I could privately share with anyone. I can't post it publicly, but I have the footage of Karl Malone, and he said, Chris, anytime I do an interview or I have to sit down for something, I sit down and I listen to this song, and it was Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton, which is very interesting because he's black, and I didn't think they listen to country music, but they do, which is weird.
Yeah,
Now let me explain that. Hold on, before everybody thinks I'm a
Get that
raging
notepad
racist.
back out and
All
take
black.
out all sports stars.
Okay,
We're just
wait.
They're not going to be on the show.
Wait. I gotta tell you, this is why. So I will never mention Karl Malone and not make a racist comment, and here's why. When I met Karl Malone the first time, I think I've said this on this podcast, but maybe not. When I met him the first time, he walked up to me. It was so funny, and and I had both hands in my pockets, and I was just kind of standing there waiting. And he walks up, and I said, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I pulled my hand out of my pocket and stuck it out to shake his hand, and he goes, "When I meet people and they have a hand in their pocket, it means one of either two things: A, they don't like black people, or B, they just don't want to shake my hand. So which is it?" And I go, both. And he laughed, and I laughed, and he was like, "We're gonna get along," and we did, man. We had a great time, but everything he did, I kept going, "Karl, are you talking to me like that because I'm white?" And anyway, that was kind of our thing. So anyway, no, legitimately, so good, great song. I'd actually never heard it. I mean, apparently I had if it was at your wedding, but I'd never recognized it until he played it. It's a good song.
yeah. Well, it was just Ape and me were sitting in the driveway at the house we're renting right around the corner from here. Before we bought our new one, it was like, okay, we've got to get this music, what everybody's coming down the ramp to. We got to get it all covered. I had my mother-son dance and the first dance song. I had that teed off. She was like, "Well, what if we did this?" And I'll explain why to you. I was like, "Okay." And she cut on Tennessee Whiskey. I was like, "No, it's popular right now. I don't want to do anything that's popular." It's actually going to be a Garth Brooks song that probably 2 people in that room had heard because they were at a concert and heard it.
I would have known it. Which song were you thinking?
A friend of me.
Heck yeah. Because you've always been a friend to me.
Yeah. So
That's right. See?
Made that
Don't
three
act like I don't know my Garth, man.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to do because when we went to Chicago to see him, which I traveled to Chicago to see Garth Brooks, and no, I'm not ashamed. But it was
Again, back to the I'm surprised black people listen to country music comment, but okay. He went to
Yeah.
Chicago.
Why not?
for
good for them.
8 straight days, which
Did he really?
that sounds like mine.
That guy, I'll tell you, that's one dude. You just wonder how he does it. Like, just imagine taking 12 years off of whatever it is you're doing. If Felt Recoil stopped right now and you come back, I mean, it's been 12 years, right? Is that right? Or longer?
Been longer than
When-
it was longer than that.
I mean, maybe even closer to 20 now that I'm thinking about it. He stopped touring. He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go watch my kids grow up." And he went and did his thing with the kids. And then he goes, "I'm going to tour again." And he sells out everywhere he goes. Who has ever done that? It's amazing. It's amazing.
It amazed me that 3 nights in Greenville. That's what amazed me. How do you? Nobody here gets behind anything really. I was telling you the other day, Patty. It was like the drive. People go down there. It's a reason to drink beer and sit in the sun and and put stuff on Instagram. Take Instagrams.
Right.
Take Snapchats. Nobody
Snaps.
cares. Kind of like we were at the hockey game today.
Yeah.
It was me, you, Dad, and about 70 of our closest friends.
Right.
And then 200 screaming middle schoolers that they shoved off in the corner for education day.
I was talking to my wife about this. It was so interesting because you and your dad said that last night there was a lot of fighting. Apparently there were a couple of fights today, and it just struck me as it was weird because the kids apparently they get so excited over the fights. Like you got all these
I do. So
all these middle schoolers. Well, yeah, but think about it. Like, okay, you're at a public school and you're taking all your middle schoolers, and the only thing that super excites them about the game is the fighting. It's just a little weird. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
I don't think it's weird at all.
No.
I think it's natural. No. I think it's natural, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I think it's weird to take a bunch of middle schoolers to the game.
yeah, as a parent, I'd look at it. I said to my wife, I was like, it's just kind of weird for me to think about our boys, you know, because they're kind of the oldest. We got a newborn girl, so you do this thing, I guess, mentally where you don't really think about her being older yet. But once they start communicating and all that kind of changes. So you think about the boys going, number 2, Abram, boy, I could see him. He'll be out there fighting. He's already a fighter. He loves it. Our oldest, not so much. But I thought, I don't know, just to me, it almost incentivizes. Like tomorrow, those schools will have a ton of fist fights, man. Oh, yeah. And they'll all be fought hockey style. Like, one hand on the shirt and the other hand on the shirt, and they're fighting each other.
Spraying and praying them.
It's just the way it's going to go.
But no, about what I was getting at before we got on our beautiful rendition of a friend of me there.
I mean, I'm pretty good at it.
And it was glorious.
Thank you.
Combination of Fergie and Jesus. That's what it was.
What?
And I'm not just saying that.
It's so weird. All right, okay.
But
what were you getting at?
She said, yeah, because, you have a good time with your friends, and I'm assuming you drink Tennessee whiskey, and I didn't have the heart to tell her it was Canadian, but whatever. She said, but yeah, you're married now. I was like, I can live with that.
Right.
So Morgan, Johnny, I do miss you, but it'll be but it was funny, but it ended up working out well. It's a little bit easier to dance to after we did it. I was like, I couldn't have danced to that song with a 3-minute almost guitar solo.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. So you were talking at the reception. You played that at the reception.
Yeah, the reception.
Not during the ceremony. Oh, okay. Because I couldn't remember hearing it, but I do remember your reception. And I don't know how long we actually stayed. We had our, at the time, 2-year-old with us, right?
Yeah.
It'd been about 2 years, I think.
Yeah, it was 1 year.
1 year?
1 year, January 23rd.
Well, that'd be right then.
Just that fact check that I actually knew.
So, yeah. All right. We had one of the kids with us. Anyway, all right. Cool. Travelers, the album by Chris Stapleton. All right. So, final question. One question 5 times. What is the one piece of advice you would offer? And you know what I do want to preface with? How old are you? 24, 23?
24.
You're a younger guy than us. So this is almost unfair because you've only got Patrick. Look how mad Patrick is. I feel so old right now.
Feel old all the time.
But you know what? It's worth another perspective. What would you go back 6 years and say to your 18-year-old self? Don't take that job. No, really, what would you say?
Just go to school. There's more fun to be had once you get this knocked out. Just go to school, do it, do what you're supposed to do, and be Stump. Don't worry about being, or I'm going to rephrase that, be Dylan. Don't worry about being Stump, because everybody that calls me Stump, which isn't my wife or my mom, so everybody else short of that's like, hey, let's go, and we'll have a good time, but Mom, April, why don't you do your schoolwork? Why don't you stop worrying about everything else? And and
but you did go to school.
I got Stump things to do though, Mom.
Right,
I got Stump things.
Ain't got time for this Dylan business.
Yeah, I did. I went to Limestone. Yeah, I'm going there, but could have done
better than you did. Is your point?
Yeah, not quite Harvard, but
so wait, are you saying you wish you would have focused more on school, on academics?
On high school.
Oh, on high school?
On high
Come
school.
on, high school.
Wish I'd knocked high school out. Just
Whatever.
focus there. Just focus on that. Knock it out. Go to Carolina with your friends instead of going to Limestone with your friends, which I would have changed the thing about Limestone because I met some of the greatest people I'll ever meet in my life there. But probably would have said, let's go on down to Carolina because football's free.
So you're saying you would have changed schools?
Yeah, I tried to. I actually tried. I got my GPA up from Limestone. and tried to get it up to Carolina level and called them. They were like, "Yeah, you can come. You'll start as a freshman." I was a second semester sophomore. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
like lose a year? Yeah, I can take a victory lap. That's fine.
Yeah.
They were like, "No, you start from scratch." I was like,
Really? Was that because of your GPA?
"No." So apparently they write their own textbooks somehow, which it is true because I went back and looked at them when I went to my admissions office and unleashed the beast in there.
You know what? Okay. Yeah.
And and I looked at my psychology book, and it had the professor's name on it. I said, "Yep, that's."
Well, you know, I went much later in life, but I went to South Carolina's upstate campus.
Yep.
And I can vouch for the fact that I took a couple of classes where the guy teaching it wrote the textbook.
Yep.
So, yeah, okay.
So that's the way all Limestone stuff was, which Limestone's not a bad school.
Oh, so it's Limestone that wrote all the textbooks?
Yeah, not Carolina.
Not Carolina, okay.
No, it was Limestone that did it, and it was all specific to that education, which is an athletic college, so it's a hard degree to get, but they kind of just get you out the door, just go to practice.
So are they not accredited?
They are. They are, but it's just weird on the way they transfer because they're not linked up with Greenville Tech either.
Yeah.
So
Private school versus...
You mean GTC?
GTC, sorry. Harvard on the Hill.
All right, let's do your review, and then we're going to get into a deep conversation about that. All right, so the gun is Glock 19. The book is The Yankee Years by Joe Torre. The movie is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And the music is Traveler by Chris Stapleton. And the advice is go to school, learn, be yourself, right? Basically. All right. I had an interesting thing today. Did you enjoy college? Did you like your college experience overall? If you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at?
The experience, like being there or going to school?
I guess combine them. I don't know. I'm asking overall. The experience of going to school every day and learning something new. No, not your thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
what?
My Limestone was a college that had an attendance policy.
Yeah.
So we made sure we had to kind of budget them out. But the more that we stayed there, like when I first got there my freshman year, probably a 4, because I didn't know anybody. I knew 2 guys down the hall that I went to high school with, and then other than that, there was nobody. So I was miserable. Like I went home every weekend, and then my buddy HB walked in my room one day and was like, "Hey, man." And I didn't know him. He's a big old boy. I was like, "Okay, what do you want?" And he was like, "You want to ride to McDonald's? I'm hungry." I was like, "Sure, why not?" And we're best of friends. But
yeah, and
when we
though.
got off of campus, it was a lot better.
Yeah.
It probably went up from probably 4 when I left out of there. It was a 8.5.
Well, I went to a place called Bob Jones for high school, and Bob Jones. It's funny. My wife went there as well. We didn't really know each other. She did not finish out high school, which I'm not going to share a lot of her personal information because I don't want her upset by it. But there is an interesting thing to be said about the fact that it doesn't matter. My wife is amazing. And as you both know, but my wife was actually living in Michigan with her family, and at like 12 years old decided, I'm moving out. And her parents were a little poor, okay? They were basically living in a tent in the woods in Michigan. So my wife chose to come down and live with relatives here in the upstate and pay her own way to go to high school. And because she couldn't foot the bill, they told her she couldn't come back. Then you had a snot-nosed brat like myself, whose bill was free because his mom worked there. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't really know, right?" So I'm just telling you that for perspective's sake. When I look back, I think there was a lot I liked about the high school experience. But everything I disliked was the fact that I didn't feel like I got along with everybody, right. But here's what I'm asking you. You went to college for a couple of years. Did you like your college experience? You were at, where were you at? Hold on.
Newberry.
Newberry, thank you. All right.
So probably not far off in size from Limestone, I guess.
Yeah,
it's really small.
It was a D2 school, so yeah,
really,
they're about
really
the
small
same.
school.
What was your overall? I'm sorry, go back to Stump for just a second. What was your overall score out of 10 for your Limestone experience?
When we finally wrapped it up, it was like, yeah, I got a good job, or a great job. I have a great job now, but I had a better job. No offense to anybody who might be listening, but
But you came out of school with a job you enjoyed, is your
yeah,
point.
I came out of a job, and then April, she was not in. Which April is the same way almost.
Your wife.
My wife.
Yeah.
Has not been. She's been on her own for a while.
Yeah.
And she finally said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Greenville Tech. I'm going to knock out this nursing degree.
Yep.
She said, and I'm not waiting another table a day in my life.
Yeah.
And I want you to be patient with me. And if you're patient with me, we can try to move into this. We moved into a little house right up the road from my parents, and it was small for me, her, a dog, and a cat. It was small.
Right.
And she would go to work at 11, come home at 11, or come home at 7, and then stay for about 15 minutes, about enough to get the milk wet on the cereal, and say, all right, bye, I love you, and go on to nursing school, and did that for 2 or 3 years, wherever it takes, and we just bought our first house. So I will probably say for college, it was an 8.5 because I miss those people every single day.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to see, my friends, my really close friends from there, once, twice a week, every day, and
Yeah.
but if you would have told me in high school that, yep, you'll be able to pick up the phone, one of your best friends, he'll live in Louisiana, the other
Yeah.
one, Canada, people from all over the world come to went there, and it's like, wow, I know.
That's funny.
We went to New York City, picked up the phone, called somebody, they met us.
Oh, really?
Yep, hey, we're here, let's have some fun. And the same way, you can go anywhere and you'll know somebody everywhere. So I'm thankful for that. But 8.5.
8.5 out of 10.
Out of 10.
All right, Hulon.
Sir.
Did your school come within 15% of perfection?
I don't know what that means.
Well, he's at 85% on his.
85%.
8.5 out of 10 would be 85%. Wow, obviously it didn't in the math department.
No, I guess I
30.
should have been listening. Sorry. I don't know.
And let me say this, by the way. I'm not talking. So I'm getting at something that I experienced today that was a little weird for me, almost surreal. So that's why I'm asking. If Stump had an 8.5 out of 10 for overall college experience, what would you say yours was?
I had a lot of fun, so there's that. I don't think that the curriculum was very challenging at Newberry, because you had, I think, probably similar to Limestone, you had a lot of athletes that were just passed through just so they could get to practice and that sort of thing. So I don't feel like I learned a lot, and I'm trying to be fair about that, but I'm just being honest.
Do you remember what their ratio to what their student athlete ratio was?
Oh, it was something insane. I mean, almost basically, you were a complete outlier if you weren't there on some kind of athletic scholarship.
Oh yeah, we were NARPs, non-athletic regular people.
There you go.
NARPs, and they're in.
That's so weird
I
because
knew me,
it's
and-
Limestone and Newberry. Are these schools? Am I just unaware?
like
These are schools that are known for their athletic prowess.
Limestone has the largest, or they had, I don't know about anymore, they had the largest wrestling team in the country. They had 90 people on their wrestling team.
Really?
90 people don't wrestle at a match. So they take people in.
I don't think we had that many on our football team.
Right.
But Limestone also has a no cut policy. So you could go and say, you could wake up one morning and say, you know what? I think today I would like to try swimming. Walk to the coach's office, say, yep, I'm a swimmer. You go to the athletic director's office. You have to get through your NCAA stuff. When you're approved, boom, you're a swimmer. $2,500 towards tuition. Here
There you go. I could do that. I'm very buoyant.
I tried it with baseball. And then I found out about the whole, we're going to run 2.5 miles a morning on average, and then we're going to go work out. Then you're going to class, and then you're coming to practice, and you're going to run after practice. I said, you know what? I think I'll sit in the front yard and enjoy a delicious adult beverage while y'all do that.
Yeah, right.
We'll go to dinner when you're done.
Hulon, where are you at?
So if I were to split the fun and the education 50-50, okay?
Okay.
And let's just, for grins, say the education was a 0.
Okay.
So that would leave 5 points left over for fun. if I fulfilled all the fun I
Yeah.
thought I could have.
Okay, if that's
All
the way
right.
you're doing it, sure.
But that actually spilled over.
Okay.
So I would say probably closer to like a 6 or a 7, but all because of fun, not because of the actual education.
Same boat.
So here's the thing.
I may or may not have partied a little bit.
Too much. Well, look, live your 20s like you're 20. My wife and I fell into that.
Checkmate.
Yeah. My wife and I went into that conversation the other night. She was sharing a story, and she said, it's just weird. This is happening. I said, hey, babe, live your 20s like you're 20. She said, man, I'll tell you. It's true. Because my wife, obviously, like I said, she's very independent from the get-go, right? Me, I was more of like a kind of, what's the word? I don't know. I never had direction. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. I still don't. And so it was more like I thought, well, I could be a cop, or I could do this, or I had all these things I would want to do. But at the end of the day, I wanted to play guitar and get paid for it. And that was kind of my ultimate goal. So school to me was never really.
Where do you stand on that right now?
What's that?
Like getting paid to play guitar?
Yeah, not in a while. Not in a while. It's been a few years.
It's never too late, buddy.
Right. So,
I think Stump should be your manager.
well, funny enough, I'll share.
That's the only musical talent I got's managing the band, baby. That's all we got for you.
As a side note, right after we moved back to Greenville, I got an email or a Facebook message, most likely, from a girl that I knew. And she said, hey, my friend is getting married, and she's looking for somebody to play a couple of songs. And I've played in quite a few weddings at this point. And she said, could you do these couple of songs? And I replied, it was Jason Mraz and Train. And I replied and said, nah, those are pretty much out of my wheelhouse. I don't do that. And she said, yeah, but how about a demo? Like, could you record yourself playing these two guitars? Now, I don't like either one of those people, okay? I think they're both jokes. Jason Mraz is a very talented and gifted guitarist, but I think he's a weirdo, quite frankly. Like, he's just a weird guy.
He's California to the bone.
He is. True story. When I worked in radio, I watched Jason Mraz pull up to an event in a convertible and take 2 or 3 bong rips before coming in. And he smelled of so much weed with the guy he brought with him, who I thought was his boyfriend. And I'm not being mean. I really thought he was gay. Still not convinced he's not, but I don't follow Jason Mraz's life, so maybe he's got himself a pretty little wife. Again, no judgment. I'm just saying. I thought they were, hey, he and his boyfriend, and they were so high. They were so high that as I was introducing myself and saying I worked at the radio station, I realized he has no clue where he is right now, like none. So anyway, he writes all these weird songs, and it's funny. The big one we played on the radio was Curbside Prophet. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
It's all about masturbation. Like, we can agree on that, right? I'm a curbside prophet with my hand in my pocket waiting for my rocket to come. Like, what is he talking about if it's not what I'm saying?
Can't say I ever analyzed that one that deeply.
I mean, come on, man.
I can honestly say I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're young. You're young. Thanks. All right,
Well, how
anyway.
old's Jason Mraz?
Jason Mraz, probably in his 40s at this point. He was older than me when I met him.
Really?
I'm 36. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were probably 7 when that song came out.
It's probably I would have been 23, 24 at the time. So yeah, 10 or 11 when it came out.
To the fax machine.
Curbside Prophet. I'm telling you, I always thought he's talking about something dirty. All right, here's the point. So she said, "Can you play these 2 songs?" I said, "No, they're out of my wheelhouse." She said, "Just send a demo. So I sent a demo to the bride to be, and she sent back and was like, yeah, okay, but, and she had some, I don't remember what it was, she wanted something tweaked, and I sent back and said, yeah, here you go, I tweaked it this way and that way and whatever, and then I never heard back from her. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've been paid to play guitar, but.
Did you play it on purpose flat, just so they wouldn't call you back?
I can tell you, I called my wife in, I said, I want you to listen to this and tell me how it sounds, and her reaction was kind of like, I was like, yeah, listen, babe, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Because, I'm kind of
like, yep, well, that's what I was going for.
Right. Well, my voice is a little deeper, and, I can do falsetto if I have to. I'll tell you bands that I feel like I'm comfortable playing Coldplay and Noel Gallagher and Dave Matthews songs because they're all kind of still on that same level of, I'm not a musical guy in the sense of I can't tell you what key or octave we're playing or however that works. I'm really bad at all that. But I can tell you, there's a few songs that when I play them, I feel like my natural tone carries well on those songs. Those were not 2 songs that my natural tone carried on, and I tried to say as much. How did we get there? You were making fun of me because I was talking about moving to Columbia to play music. So here's what happened. I am considering pursuing some postgraduate work with school, okay? And that required that this morning, before I met up with you, I had to do a little running around, and I'm requesting transcripts from my schools, okay? Which is weird because you would think, well, I went to this school and graduated, right? And they have all that information, so they can send it to you. But the organization that I just paid, and this is no joke, I think it was $175 for them to take all this information and pass it along to the appropriate parties. They go, yeah, but you have to go and send letters to each school. So luckily I'm local, right? So I went to Bob Jones. I went to Greenville Tech, GTC, by the way. We'll know if you know that.
Now I do.
I'm going to read you something. Hold on.
So, Patrick, what you want to talk about today?
No, it's in the other room. Sorry. Here's what's great. So Greenville Tech is the local technical school, and they're trying to rebrand as GTC, right? And they handed me a transcript request form, and I kid you not, I'm going to go get it. Give me 30 seconds, okay? Hold on. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. This just took a turn I was not expecting.
You do this every week. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, I really need to rethink
Got like
things.
the scene from Talladega Nights. Car drove real good.
Sorry, guys. All right, here's what's great. How to request a transcript. Ready? I'm going to read this verbatim. Ensure first that the college that you are sending an e-transcript to accepts then, first, or if they prefer them to be mailed. This is verify that I'm not lying. That's the first sentence on your transcript request form from Greenville Technical College. And I'm in there.
That is something else.
And they're doing this whole rebranding thing where it's like, oh, we're GTC and our graduates go on to do great things. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but if you can't proofread.
Apparently no one in the registrar's office has graduated from GTC.
That's one thing I remember about
It's so
Ape.
funny.
That's one thing I remember about Ape going there was, which Ape is my wife, which she'll hear this and say, why did I call her an ape on my podcast? And I'll be, once again, how many...
Because her name's April.
How many stumps can your couch hold, Patrick? Because I might be there. But no, if she had to go to the registrar's office or the finance office or any sort of office at Greenville Tech, that was a we're going to clear the schedule kind of day.
Yeah.
If anything important has to happen, you're going to do it because you could be there for...
A long time.
You could be there in and out in 20. You could be there for 4 hours. You were just rolling the dice when you walk up.
Well, the other thing to me, twofold. Number one, 2 of the 3 schools I went to today both told me, yeah, you need to go home and do that online. But the company, like I said, I just paid a company $175 to, what's the word? Gather all this information, curate all of this information, and send it off to the appropriate parties. And so
I've just decided we're in the wrong line of work.
Apparently. And so then I drive around, I go, hey, I need all this information. And they go, well, just go home and do it online. And I go, no. I have a form here that says mail this to you. And so instead of mailing it, I drove it over. Yep, nope, got to go home and do it online. Right, but this form says mail this to you. And one lady was like, just take a picture of it and upload it. And then, yes, it'll be like you mail it to us. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be joking. So it was frustrating, but here's my point. I did realize I could be a professional student. Because, man, I walked back into the schools and I thought, man, I want to go back to school so bad. Like, I don't know what I would do. But it's just like this thing for me about being in the classroom, listening to somebody, learning something new. If there's ever an opportunity for them to pay $50,000 and all I do is go sit through class, I would do that 100,000 times over every day of the week. No problem.
They do pay $50,000 to do it. It's called be a good student.
Yeah, be a good student.
I mean,
well, you know what? I'll tell you this. It's funny because college tuition goes up and up every year. And I remember sitting in a classroom one time, and my professor just finally had enough. And she goes, stop complaining about your tuition going up and realize that it only goes up because so many people are abusing the system. And she went in to outline how people enroll, they take the government's money, and then they drop all their classes. And you can do that 7 times before they stop giving you money. So again, the government creates a problem that the private sector could fix, but the government refuses to do it. Which brings me back to a point I wanted to make. Can we just take a minute to let all HR people in the world know something? I think this is important. We had a meeting at my job this week about our benefits, right? And I'll preface with this in case anyone important hears it. I understand that the benefits aren't really under the control of the company, especially the pricing. I blame the government for what I sat through the other day. 1,000% I blame the government.
And Chris does not like those folks.
I hate the government. And I don't like the people that were there like pitching how great the benefits were for us, because I'm like, no, they're not. I can't work here, have a family of 5, which I do, and afford the benefits.
They have to be cheerleaders, though.
100%. Yeah, no. That's their job.
Not beating up on them, right?
No,
I mean,
I'm not.
like, so when the guy stands up, it's like, yeah, I mean, cost of insurance going up again this year. You're not
Right.
mad at that. But he's trying to like
He's
put a
got a
positive
job to
spin on
do.
it.
Yes.
Because he can't get up there and actually say what he's really thinking and go,
Right.
you're not going to believe this crap, guys.
Right.
And, and light into it. So
I-
he's got to polish the turd, so to speak.
He's got a fine line to walk. You're exactly right. It's a funny thing, though, because your HR people, and full disclosure, my oldest sister is HR, okay? So she is HR.
I hate her already.
All right, exactly. She's HR for some big company down in Florida. But the funny thing about it is, I don't think HR people understand this. So I want to just explain it real easily for you. You are the principal of work, okay? You are everything the principal was in high school. Anytime I'm having a conversation with you, it's not that I don't like you or that I don't trust you. It's just that at the forefront of my mind is, how do I end this conversation without getting in trouble? I want to talk to you and I want to say hey and I want to be your friend, but not really. Like, I'm just looking to get out of this without getting myself canned. So if I can do that, great. But we're not going to be friends. I'm not going to crack wise with you. I'm going to say, have a nice day, and I'm going to go do my job, and I'm going to stay out of your hair. Because to me, whether it's right or wrong, and to every other employee, everywhere, anywhere, ever, you're the person that fires everybody. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Not that you definitely fire everybody, but you're the person that says, do this or be fired, right? So I don't think I'm being ridiculous to say you're basically... like you would be in high school and you'd run into your principal in the hallway and you'd be like, ah! And he'd go,
You're not even doing anything wrong.
right. You go, hey,
You
Chris.
just have this overwhelming feeling of guilt.
Right. Yeah. And then you go, you doing all right? Yes. Yes.
Why do you ask?
Are you doing all right? I'm doing great. Good. Anything I can help you with? Potato! And he'd run out the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had nothing else to say to him. You just did not want to be in any trouble. I don't think HR people get that. Like, they come in and they're normal people and they want to be normal people and they want to have a job like the rest of us and they want to get along with everybody, but everybody's like, ha! Like, you're great, but get this over with and let me get back to work, and you go back to work and leave me alone. But the issue there is that, you don't want the HR people to not like you. Like, you want to be on good terms with the HR people. So anyway, it's not their fault. It's the government's fault. And so the only reason I went to this meeting was to find out if my family could afford insurance through the company. And it's, again, not their fault. But, man, you're looking at, I did a little math, and it legitimately, we're talking somewhere around 75% of my income for insurance every month. Let that sink in. That is what Obama has done to us.
There's no way that's correct, Chris. It's actually not called Obamacare. It's the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Emphasis on affordable.
Affordable if you don't make any money. It's affordable if Obama thinks you deserve something for free. That's when it's affordable.
Kind of like college, then.
Kind of over it. Yes, very much like college. Very much like college. I do want to touch on 2 things so we don't forget. Real quick. Ghost Recon Wildlands is the greatest game ever. If you're playing it, add me. Okay? Add me. All right. Number two and three, by the way. No, seriously, Christopher 1981. So it's KRISTOVER 1981, and I'll play some Ghost Recon with you.
What platform?
It's been a lot of fun. PS4. Thank you. Our YouTube subscriptions have gone up ever so slightly. We're making like $1 per month on YouTube, so good for us.
Thanks, Mom.
But thanks to everybody, by the way. Seriously, if you've gone and watched and you've subscribed to the YouTube channel, thank you, because think about it this way. That's a free way to support what we're doing, and we honest to God, we appreciate that. It's a big deal. But we're also getting close to our 5,000 download giveaway. Every 5,000 and every 1,000 downloads, we do a quick giveaway. And the 5,000 is going to be a big one. We're going to do a strip blower that's engraved with the Felt Recoil podcast logo on one side. And we're not, what's that?
2DD mags as well.
Oh, yes,
right?
that's
right.
right.
Some magazines.
2 Daniel Defense mags. And the lower, that'll happen when we hit 5,000 downloads, and we're a lot closer than you might think. So please feel free to share it with a friend and tell them to listen, and make sure you spread the word a little bit. We love it, and I gotta tell you, it's an amazing thing to sit down and look at the stats, because I don't know what we're doing. Like, I just feel like we sit here and talk to each other, and I think that's great. And
I'd say that's a pretty accurate assessment.
I don't ever want this to be a thing where you feel over commercialized, like we're selling you a bunch of stuff every time you sit down. I don't want to be that. I never want that to be the case. I want it to much more be that we're just, shooting the breeze, talking, and having a good time. And so that ties back to the YouTube channel is a great way to make sure that it stays that way. Okay? All right. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on. We got a little attention on Twitter this week, and it was great attention to get.
What's Twitter?
Yes. Exactly. Let me tell you something funny about Twitter, by the way. I had a conversation with a guy once. It's been a while. I can't say what I just thought about that guy. He's in some legal trouble. We'll just leave it at that. And, if I could punch him in the face, I would. Anyway, he was in the business of selling homes, and he once told me that Twitter was basically Facebook with less characters. I said, that's really dumb. Yada, yada. Here's the point. I was on watching the news this weekend a little bit, and if you remember, the big thing the left has done that's been fantastic is they've now coined the phrase fake news, right? So now they're looking for fake news. And I just want to apologize sincerely and dearly if I'm mispronouncing your name, sir. Ami Horowitz.
That looks right.
He was on with Tucker Carlson on CNN or on Fox News, and then he was on CNN with Don Lemon. Don Lemon is basically like, I don't know, the Gomer Pyle of network news. Is that fair?
Come on.
Like, if they
don't beat up on the lemon.
All right. That was an insult to Gomer Pyle. So here they are.
So you
chatting.
made this short documentary. It was about immigrant crime in Sweden.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson interviewed you about the film, talking about how the Swedish public feels about the situation. Let's watch this.
They know that this crime is happening. They can feel it. The statistics are clear. But they would refer to what is the root cause behind it and say, oh, it's just more, it happened to be more violence. It's men who are raping people, not the refugees. They'll make excuses for it. The majority of the population in Sweden still want to have an open door policy. It's confounding.
So the president sees your interview, which means you influenced him, the president of the United States, to spread, which really amounts to false information, right? How do you feel about being part of that?
All right. So that is the important thing. False information, because this is, if you remember, Trump had kind of a misspeak, if you will, about something.
Never.
Yeah, no.
Not
Right?
that guy. Come on.
But he had mentioned an incident in Sweden last night during a speech. He said there was an incident in Sweden last night, but what he is actually trying to say, or maybe he wasn't, I don't know, maybe he's just an idiot, because I'm not here to defend him.
I'll go with that.
But the point was that the night before, Ami's interview with Tucker had aired on Fox News. Do you remember this? And he had pointed out that rape was rising in Sweden, right? And so then,
But not just rising, like at a exponential rate.
oh, it's amazing, right? So here's the clip of Trump. You're exactly right. Exponential rate.
We've
rate.
got to keep our country safe. You look at what's happening in Germany. You look at what's happening last night in Sweden. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden. They took in large numbers. They're having problems like they never thought possible.
Okay, so let's talk about the numbers.
All right, so listen to
because
this.
we looked
This
at
is
the
important.
stats from the U.S. Department, the State Department. Here's what we learned, all right? Crime rose about 7% from 2012 to 2015. Much of that crime was nonviolent computer fraud and vandalism. In 2015, violent crime decreased slightly. There was no staggering increase. Where did you get your information, and did you look at the official numbers?
Yeah, from a far more accurate source, State Department. I don't know why the State Department is doing numbers for Sweden. I look at the Swedish, it's called BRA, B-R-A,
Yeah, we have it.
which is the keeper of all stats
Yeah, we
for
have
Sweden.
it. Yeah, we
So
have
if you look
it.
at what I call heavy crime, so I'm talking about murder, I'm talking about sexual assault. Sexual assault from 2006 to 2015 is up almost 50%. Murder between 2012 and 2016 is up, I think, almost over 80%.
Yeah.
Now, so those are the real numbers.
Yeah, well, the real numbers, they don't show up almost 80%.
Except for
I don't
funny-
want to be rude, though, but are your ears and your eyes working? Because the numbers, as we're reading from BRA,
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude.
and from the
I'm gonna be a
State
dick.
Department,
Forget
they
State
don't
Department.
show what you're saying. You're taking these
Those are
numbers
raw
and
num-
you're
do you have the
manipulating
raw-
them in
do
the
you
way
have-
that...
there's no
yes, I have
manipulation.
them. They're right here.
The
What
raw
does that
numbers
say?
are up.
That says BRA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Show me the.
But if you look at, even if you look at crime here in the United States, overall,
Yeah.
for the past decade,
Crime is down.
Crime is down.
Right.
There was a spike.
Rape is down.
There was a spike.
Murder's down.
In 1 year.
Non-Sweden.
Right. Over time.
Not Sweden.
That's the same thing.
No.
But it's not skyrocketing.
totally
It's the same thing. What a moron. Like, there's probably... There is no bigger moron on network television than Don Lemon, is there? Can you think of somebody more stupid?
They got rid of Al Sharpton, didn't they?
Yeah, he's
Well,
gone.
then, yeah.
Okay, so here's,
Lamont takes the cake.
so here's the point. All right, so Ami is trying to tell Dummy that
Dummy Lamont.
rape is up in Sweden, and he just cited 2005 to 2016. It's an 11-year stretch, and Don is going, no. They're saying it's not, and back and forth. Here's the thing. So, the National Crime Prevention Council of Sweden, and by the way, if you go to feltrecoilshow.com and click on the blog, this is there. Okay. They have presented an extensive report called Crime Trends in Sweden 2015. It points to the trend of reported sex offenses up with a dip in the 10th century and a 2015 study. According to the annual National Crime Survey, the percentage of women victims of sexual offenses has risen from 1.1% in 2011 to 3% in 2015. By the way, just pardon me, I'm reading this off of a translated website, dn.se. So this is like Safari doing its translation thing. And so here's the real important part. BBC has justified the fact that Sweden's migration policy has been the international focus because Donald Trump unexpectedly expressed in a way that many interpreted as an act of terrorism committed in Sweden, what we just heard. One of the presenters of the time, the conversation... all right, this is lost here in translation. One of the presenters of the time, the conversation on the frame of Sweden. All right, this is a little weird. All right, anyway, here's the point. So I'm going to pronounce it Ylva. It's Ylva Johansson's statement. So she was the one that Don Lemon was basically, when he's talking about U.S. State Departments, but she also had backed that up and said rape was down, rape was down, rape was down. However, she was only talking about 2015. Quote, I based my answers in the interview on the information I had then. The reports on rape decreased in 2015, but it was wrong of me to talk about a development based on just 1 year. The preliminary figures for 2016 show, unfortunately, that rape is on the increase again. So my question was, is Don Lemon going to issue an apology to Ami Horowitz or not? And it shows you, by the way, what the mainstream media is so good at doing, which is let's say something and hope nobody notices when we're wrong. We'll just not correct the record. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch Don Lemon as a habit. I don't watch the news as a habit because they're all lying to you. What?
You don't watch Don on the reg?
I mean, every night I sit down and I go, I can't wait to watch this. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And then...
Well, I think it goes back to that whole, they want to be first, they don't want to be right. Doesn't matter if they're right to them.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Accuracy isn't important, just speed.
It's an amazing time we live in. I say this a lot, but, I mean, we're at a point that, I don't know, because it's not like I've lived this long life. I'm 36 years old, but you sent me a text the other day, Patty, where you said, what was the scandal you had mentioned in the text you
I don't know,
sent?
but if I said it was probably profound.
Very profound. But you had highlighted a scandal of some sort.
Your Stump over here snickering.
Yeah, Stump's like, yeah, right, buddy. And I said, here's the thing. Well, it was Sean Hannity that had said, because the wiretapping. The wiretapping. Trump had an amazing weekend in the news. It was unbelievable how many things Trump has said that have now been proven true in the news. The wiretapping, totally true. There's now an article out there from the New York Times that says that they used. Am I right in this? All right. The New York Times headline: Intercepted Russian communications, part of inquiry into Trump associates. Done. Intercepted communications. That's wiretapping. That's eavesdropping. That is monitoring communications. How much more proof do you need? By the way, that article is from January 19th of this year.
And now they're trying to backpedal.
Oh, yeah?
That's what so
Of course.
they're trying to act like, well, no, that's not really what we meant.
From Washington, American law enforcement and intelligence agencies are examining intercepted communications and financial transactions as part of a broad investigation into possible links between Russian officials and associates of President-elect Donald J. Trump. That's the New York Times. Intercepted communications. The Obama administration was absolutely watching Donald Trump's campaign. They knew, and they tried to get as much information as they could.
Well, so look, here's the thing. They've asked Obama if he was the one who ordered that, and he said he wasn't. So, I mean, we got to let it go.
Well, he probably wasn't. James
gotta let it
Clapper
go.
probably did. Right, yeah.
He didn't have anything to do with
He didn't
it.
have
He
anything
told
to
us he didn't, so we're good.
I mean, Obama's legacy is culpable deniability, right? I mean, that's all the guy did was
Stir the pot and then take a step back and go, I don't know what y'all are talking about.
right. Yeah, plausible deniability,
Plausible.
as we like to laugh about.
Plausible deniability.
I don't remember where that came from, but somebody once said, "I'm going to write it in." Is that something we can share? How did that come about? I'm going to write that in.
I really don't remember.
It was something in a contract, and somebody said, "I'm going to write that in as plausible deniability," and it became our joke. So the point is, here's Trump saying, I was probably wiretapped, and here's the New York Times going, you definitely were, buddy. You definitely were. We had intercepted communications. Well, what is intercepted communications outside of wiretapped information that we now have?
Not only that,
they're
saying now that the CIA set this stuff up so that they could look like Russians,
yes,
via proxy. So
that's right.
All this, the Russians this and the Russians that. Well, was it really the Russians or was it the CIA the whole time? That's my new question.
And so, yeah. And the point becomes, so it was Sean Hannity called the wiretapping the greatest scandal of all time or something like that, right? But then the point is, there will never be another great scandal. Not right now, anyway. Maybe there will be in the future. So maybe it's not fair to say there never will be. But in the current day and age, where Obama has the media by the balls and Trump is the outlier, there will never be another great scandal because nobody's willing to report it. And you, me, Stump, and everybody else, nobody believes anything they hear on the news. So what scandal would there be? If you told me tomorrow that they nailed Trump to a cross, I'd go, did they? And you go, I don't know, CNN says it. And I go, well, it's probably not true. Right? And I'd have to go see it for myself to believe it. Whatever the case is, there's just no room for belief. And then every CNN viewer would go, well, thank God Trump is dead, because that's the way they feel. Let's just go about our business now and put Barack back in office, because that's what they want. But my point is, I guess, there's just, I don't know there would ever be another real scandal that everybody buys into, just because.
Never know.
I do know.
You never know.
Right now.
I just don't see how, with the way things are, just Twitter, Facebook, everybody has a take on something, and one person could decide to tweet it of all things. Yep, so-and-so's an idiot. Well, so-and-so that wrote it can go get a DUI or whatever. Well, so-and-so's discreditable now.
Right.
It's just it's unfair balances, in my opinion. But like I said, I don't get into it that much.
Yeah, not a politics guy overall.
I love politics. It's just stuff like this. Like, it's time to admit, because kind of like you guys, I'm not the biggest Trump guy ever.
Right.
I was when he first started. I was like, yeah, whatever. I even have a hat somewhere at the house.
Right.
But
That is true. I've seen him wear the hat.
Yeah.
ball started rolling downhill. I was like,
The ball.
I
I like that it's like, once I realized he
has
might
a
actually
shot.
do this. Yeah.
was kind of like, yeah, well,
I'm
you
going to
know,
go put this hat in the closet.
let's listen to what somebody else has to say. And I listened to Jib, and that was a
Yeah, it was a waste.
That was a garbage fire. And then I didn't even attempt to listen to Ben Carson. I clicked on one of his things and I heard him speak. I was like, yeah, this
poor Ben.
ain't gonna happen. Great guy, like, loves what he does in the medical field, but stay in your lane, bud. And then I heard Ted Cruz, and I don't know if it's the W effect that he has, but something about just text, and I was like, you know what? I might be able to rock with this guy.
You know.
And then, and I was
Old
like,
Ted, yeah.
I was like, well, it's looking like we've reached rock bottom here, boys. And
And let me ask you a question. It's funny. I just want to be real clear. I have a guy on my Facebook feed who I consider a friend. Okay, and if I saw him right now, God, I'd love him. I give him a hug. I love him to death. Okay, but he's black, and he hates Ben Carson, and it's apparent from the things he's been posting lately on Facebook. And it's a and I've engaged he and his followers a few times on Facebook because of different things they post. But what's really interesting to me is that they only hate Ben Carson because he's part of the Trump administration. Because otherwise, you have a black man who dug himself out of poverty, right? Who became the premier neurosurgeon in this country. If you had a problem with your brain and they had to operate, Ben Carson was the man to see. But the black community hates him now because he's willing to deal with Donald Trump. Is there a higher form of racism than expecting that someone should have to act a certain way because their skin is a certain color? I don't think there is. And it drives me crazy. Like,
It's such a blind racism, though, because I feel like so many people are they fall into that trap. I'm trying to think. Somebody, was it Dice or somebody, did the thing where they were asking black people in the street if they thought voter ID was a good thing.
that was Mark Dice.
And they kept saying,
I have an ID.
yeah, I've got an ID.
And he was like, no, you can't go get an ID. No, I got one right here, right?
And every single person said
Yeah.
it was ridiculous
Yeah.
because they all have
Yeah.
an issued ID. That,
I love Mark Dice. Yes, absolutely.
so, but that's my point. Is it's almost this veiled, backhanded racism. Like, well, this is all you're good enough for,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's sort of sickening actually,
Yeah.
because there are so many people who, like Ben Carson, are born into poverty, and pull themselves out of it on their own and rise to that level. and then they're still treated in such a way that, well, he thinks he's better than us, or what, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you can't win for losing, is my point.
You can't win for doing good. That's the big problem, right?
It all reverts back to something that I said when I was younger, like 18, 19. And it was my big thing.
6 months ago.
6 months ago, yeah. Everything with me is like my big thing is people beating up welfare, and it's hard. It's hard to be this in America. It's hard to be that in America. It's hard to be anything.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world. It just so happens that it's the easiest to do it here in some cases.
Yeah.
Everybody that is born to this country legally has a positive, maybe not situation, but clean slate.
Yeah.
You should be able to, instead of saying, well, I'm so behind the eight ball, which that's just the way people are. It's always going to be that way.
We're very pessimistic.
Everybody that is born here has a chance to make something of themselves, and it is on you and you only at the end of the day. Well, my mama and daddy ain't rich. My mama and daddy ain't rich. Well, I'm sorry. Not everybody's are.
But you know what? You know what you're hitting on there though is America is and somebody could prove me wrong. I'd be happy to hear it. In my opinion, America is the only country in the world where it's expected that your kids will be better off in life than you are.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the only country in the world. So who cares if mom and dad aren't rich? I'm not rich, right? But I know that I'm providing more for and I don't mean this like disrespectfully, but I know that right now my kids have a better life than I had. And you know why that is? Because my dad worked 2 jobs. My dad went to work in the morning and then went and delivered pizzas at night so we could go to private school. And he'd come home late. And if you saw Dad, you were lucky. I come home when I feel like it. And I say hey to the kids. And I have a job that's very flexible and that kind of stuff. And I could probably guarantee you that I make a little bit more by working hourly as an employee than my dad did. Yeah. And my dad was working a really hard job. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm just agreeing.
That's my gripe on the whole thing. It's not racism. It's not anything else. You have to wake up one morning, decide to put your big boy or big girl pants on.
Right.
Tie your shoes.
Yeah.
And let's go do something. Nobody, especially in this day and age, is going to give anything to you. You're lucky.
Nor should they, right?
Nor should they.
Yeah.
You're lucky to get a piece of gum off your friends these days, much less get, oh, would you like $100,000 a year starting salary job straight out of high school with your 1.2 GPA? Let me draw up the paperwork and send you to Let me send you to HR. We'll get you started.
Office.
Have a good one.
It's funny.
We send you down here to Chris's friends at HR.
Yeah.
I like HR people. I think it's the demeanor is funny. Well, we can be friends. No, we can't. You're the principal. I don't want to be thrown out of school. Stop talking. The thing to me about this whole idea of who makes you successful, right? How do you gauge your success? I remember being in a college class, again, full disclosure, I went to college as an old man. Okay, I was in my mid-30s going to college, finishing my degree. So that needs to be said. But I remember being in a classroom and the professor, it was a criminal justice class, and he started talking about success and what is success and how are we going to define it. I remember saying success is subjective because the guy behind me, who was probably 19 years old, started defining it by some sort of Mercedes that he wanted. Okay, I'm not a car guy. But he knew the exact Mercedes he wanted. And the professor was like, you can get there one day if you work hard enough. And then when it was my turn to talk, I said, no, actually, I don't know that he ever will. But the problem here is he's going to gauge his success on the fact of, do I own this car or do I not? Me, I remember having the light bulb moment, the epiphany, where I said, my success is not defined by whatever. It's defined by me. So what is success for me personally, right? That's it. That's it. Find out what success is to you and go chase it. Is success the fact that I can work one job and then do a podcast with friends and enjoy myself every Wednesday night? Yes. Yes. So I feel successful. I feel like I'm right where I'd like to be, right? Did I make $1 on YouTube this week? Maybe I did. That's great. Did I not? Who cares? I'm having a good time with it, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting to me that you get these people who feel so beat up by the system when there's so many opportunities out there. Do you understand? Let this sink in for a minute. You can play video games online. You can go to twitch.com, create an account, and play video games online. This is going to blow your mind. And you could potentially make $100, maybe even $225,000 a month. Not a year, a month.
It's been a good run. I quit. I'm out of this podcast.
I don't blame you. I want you to think about that for a minute. The gaming community is vast and it's worldwide. And there are guys online right now who have 16 million subscribers on their YouTube channel, and they're pulling down $250,000 a month. I'm not misspeaking.
Seriously, what are we doing right now?
$250,000 a month.
Why aren't we playing video games right now? What are we doing?
Like I tell you, once a week, what you said earlier, we in the wrong,
We're in the wrong business. But that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. I always, when I watch bad commercials, I always say to my wife, and she's at the point now, by the way, where she predicts it. I go, you know what I think? And she goes, yeah, you think, how did Larry pitch this to the board? And I go, exactly, exactly. Because for some reason, Larry's the name I use. But I go, I always think, like, when I see a bad commercial, I always think to myself, how did Larry walk in and go, all right, guys, you're never going to believe this, but I got this great idea. Here's what we're going to do. And then he pitches this terrible commercial, and somehow everybody signed off of this terrible commercial. I feel the same way when I think about these video gamers who are making $250,000 a month on YouTube. Imagine telling your parents, so, Mom, Dad, love you. Listen, seriously, appreciate the financial support through college. I'm going to play video games on twitch.com. I'm going to record it from a camera on my computer. I'm going to post it on YouTube. Probably going to go pretty well. And they go, right, but how are you going to make your money? No. I'm going to make all my money right here. How much money? So what, are you going to make like a couple $100? Yeah, no. I made, made $50,000 last month. Yeah, right. Okay, son. Really, what are you doing though? No, really, I'm making $50,000. Those people exist, but they only exist because the private market is a thing, right? YouTube is a thing, and they're able and free to do it. It's an amazing time to be alive.
Twitch.com?
Twitch.com.
Can't wait till government subsidizes that.
Right, that'll be taxed, right?
Right.
Yeah. Poor guys.
They're going to get a hold of that.
Stump, why are you shaking your head? Was it the Stumps over here?
Stump
Like,
looks
you just can't.
absolutely mortified right now.
Well,
We have stumped the stump.
you have, because so I was like, go outside, go hit 100 baseballs a day, which I never did, ever. But go out there, get fit. You'll be a great athlete one day. Or, you know what, son? Football is hard. It's hot. You get dirty. You're fat. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to lock you in this room, and instead of going to football practice today, let's get you on a little Call of Duty for about 3 to 5 hours, and we'll pump you full of Mountain Dew and Doritos. And then, just then, maybe will you see a little bit of success on ESPN at 3 o'clock in the morning.
But you know what, Stump? It's not even about being good at the game. It's about being entertaining to the people that watch. Isn't that crazy? You don't even have to be good. You just have to be entertaining. If I want to sign up and subscribe to you on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, you just have to entertain me.
Time out.
You got this, dude. I'm telling you.
For everybody that knows me that's listening to this podcast, this is the very straight lace, pulling the ropes tight, like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, which, not yes, ma'am, because Carmen's not here. But, or well, I guess we could talk to Patrick. But it's...
I don't know what that was.
All right. But it's...
Keep
like,
moving.
if you go on there and you just have to be funny or be entertaining, or like, what is it? The guy that, I think it was one of you showed me on Battlefield. What's his name? The Stone Mountain guy.
The guy that runs around like he's in charge.
Yeah,
the
and
whole
he starts
time.
talking
Yes.
to these guys, and these guys,
He's
you
amazing.
you can tell these guys are just on there, and they're either blazed out of their mind or they're just like,
Yeah, what? And he's all like, Central Command, come in. All right, I got 4 lazy guys. All right, I'm running forward. All right.
that's entertaining.
Yeah, it's great.
But you can't sit there at some case like, all right, well, I can see what you're saying, but
Right.
I just don't see how.
They do it, man. I'm telling you. Millions and millions of millions. But listen, here's the thing. Basic marketing 101. If you're going to be successful, you find a hole in the market and you fill it, right?
Right.
That's what you do. So you look at the global market for gamers, and that is literally billions of people. So you grab 1% of that. 1%.
I just figured out how I'm going to make $1 million.
You can become a gamer?
No. I'm not even going to play it. I'm going to pay Randy $10 an hour and then just record him playing it. Because I can see him playing like Battlefield or something every time he gets shot. Well, what happened?
Yeah. You got to provide.
But I'll pay him $10 an hour and then I'll just keep the rest of the money.
You have to
and I'm
provide
gonna be
some
rich.
context. Provide some context. Randy is a guy we work with who is such
That's not his real name,
super,
first of all.
super nice guy who has such a deep southern accent that he would be like, well, I don't really know. In fact, his natural voice is almost a perfect Forrest Gump impression. He tweaks it a little bit, and he does a 1,000%.
He deepens his voice
Yeah.
to do the
Deepens
Forrest
his
Gump.
voice.
Man,
so if
he
you can
is
imagine
amazing.
Forrest Gump slightly higher pitched, that's Randy.
Will Patrick?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess.
All right.
Shazam. Next bet.
We are so far off course. I don't even know what else I wanted to talk about. But if you want to start a Twitch channel, Stump, I'm in.
All
Let
right,
me know.
We can do it.
P-Mag, did we miss anything? I know
I'm
we
sure
did.
we did.
I know we did. All right, don't forget our charity of the week, okay? The Dragon Boat Race. Please go to facebook.com/Felt Recoil Show and find a link there, and you can give a donation if you choose. We'll be out there, by the way. So if you're in the upstate
Heck
area.
yeah. I'm playing the drum.
And listen, Charlotte, Atlanta, Clemson, all those areas, come on up. Hang out with us for the day. Give some money to cancer research. What does that matter? Afterwards, there's going to be food and drinks and all sorts of good times. So come see us. It'll be a good time to hang out. We're getting closer to the 5,000 download giveaway, so don't forget that. We're going to have a good time with that. That's the lower that's engraved in 2 Daniel Defense 32-round magazines. And plus, quick sneak peek if you've hung around this long, we're working on some beer glasses and coffee mugs and things like that. So soon, we'll have those available as well. We're pretty excited about that. So plenty of ways to support. But basically, go to youtube.com and search out Felt Recoil Podcast and give us a subscribe, and we'd be happy to have you. In the meantime, in between time, we'll see you next week for Felt Recoil episode number 17. Thanks for